to P-Calculus. This is chapter 1, is equality and inequality. Equation. Equation is something on the left is equal to something on the right. Inequality is not equal. It can be less than, greater than, less than or equal, greater than or equal. So we're going to solve for the unknown. Usually we call it x, but it doesn't have to be x. It could be linear, quadratic, or any other type. It could be in radical or absolute value. So let's look at the first example. I need to solve for f. Alright, my variable here is f, and I have 1 over p plus 1 over q equal to 1 over f. It doesn't look pretty, so I don't like fraction, and I'm sure most of you don't like fraction. So the way to get rid of fraction is you find the LCM and multiply every single term on the left and on the right by LCM. Alright, so my LCM is P, Q, and F. That's my LCM. And to get rid of fraction, I'm going to multiply this to every single term here. So if I multiply this to the first term, my P will cancel. I left with QF. My second term, the Q will cancel. I left with PF. And if I multiply this to the last term, my f will cancel. I left with PQ. Now it's much better. I don't deal with fraction anymore. So next step, this is linear. Linear because all the variables in the first degree. And its equation. Left hand side is equal to the right hand side. They want you to solve for x. First thing you want to do, you want to lump everything that have the variable that you want to solve on one side. Everything else is on the other side. On my other side, I don't have f, so I don't have to worry. And on the left hand side, I have f. So from there, you're going to isolate the f. In this case, I'm going to factor out the f. So I factor out the f. I left with q plus p is equal to pq. Now I have to have f by itself. Since I have f times this whole parenthesis, so I'm going to divide by q plus p both sides. If I do that, I have f by itself. Remember, I not cancel q and q, p and p, I mean the whole thing, alright? Because you have something times something else. So I have f is equal to PQ over Q plus P. So that is my answer. That's for linear. Now let's look at the next example. Is somewhat similar. So I want to get rid of the fraction. So my LCM is x times x plus 1. Alright, now I'm going to multiply everything on the left and on the right by this LCM. So the first term, the x and the x will cancel out. So I left with 2 times x plus 1. The second term, the x plus 1 will cancel the x plus 1. So I left with 3 times x. Now on the right hand side, I don't have the denominator. So I have 4 times x plus 1. Now I get rid of fraction, which is looks better. Next, I'm going to use distributive property. Alright, so I'm going to have to distribute this in. I have 2x plus 2 plus 3x. This is 4x. So 4x times x is 4x squared plus 4x. I'm going to combine like term on the left hand side. So I'm going to have 5x plus 2 equal 4x squared plus 4x. Now it's no longer linear. You see this first example is linear. It's all in the first degree. Now I have square, so it's quadratic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it equal to 0. So you're going to move things around. So I like to have my 0 on the right hand side. But it doesn't have to, but I like to have it this way. Then I'm going to minus 5x minus 2 equal to 0. Combine like term, I'm gonna have 4x squared minus x minus 2 equal to 0. Now you can see it's quadratic. Quadratic you can solve by factoring, you can solve by complete square, square root property, or quadratic equation. I can't factor it here, so I'm going to use quadratic formula. The quadratic formula is x equal negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Alright, so the first coefficient of x squared is my a. The coefficient of x is my b. And the constant is my c. Alright, let's plug it in. So x is going to be negative 1 plus or minus square root. My b is negative 1 square minus 4. A is 4 and c is negative 2 over 2. My a is 4. So I have negative times negative is 1 plus or minus negative 1 squared is 1, 4 times 4 is 16, 16 times 2 is 32, so I'm going to have 33 here, over 8. So this is not a perfect square, I can take it out from radical, so my x is equal to 1 plus or minus square root 33 over 8. Let's see more example. Hi everyone, let's look at our next example. I want to solve for x. I have x squared minus 8x plus 13 equal to 0. This is quadratic because you have x is to the second degree. You can probably solve by quadratic equation, but since we did that already, I'm going to use the completing square. Alright, the first thing you do, I'm going to write it as x squared minus 8x equal negative 13. So I subtract 13 from both sides. The way you do the complete square, you take the coefficient of the x, divide by 2, squared, and add to both sides. So I'm going to do plus 8 over 2 square, then you add to both sides. From here, it's forced it to be a complete square. If you have 5 over 2, just leave it as 5 over 2. But this one, I can reduce it. So the factor is going to be x. If you have minus here, you're going to have minus. If you have plus here, you're going to have plus. So it's going to be minus whatever the second term here. If it's 5 over 2, it's going to be 5 over 2. But I have 8 over 2, which is 4. So I have x minus 4 quantity square. You can check it, alright. So on the right hand side, I'm going to have 13. 4 square is 16. Now I have x minus 4 quantity square equal to 3. Then I'm going to take root both sides. I'm taking root both sides. I'm going to have x minus 4 equal plus or minus square root of 3. Then I plus 4 to both sides. So x would be 4 plus or minus square root of 3. Obviously, if you try to factor, you probably cannot. So let's look at the next one. I need to solve for x. And this is not linear, because x is in the 4th degree. It's not quadratic, x is in the 4th degree. But whenever you have the second term, if you squared and you get the first term, you want to use substitution. If, for example, if you have x squared plus 5x, I just make this up. If you square this and you get this, that's a quadratic already. Maybe make it 1/2. If you square this, you get this. You can use substitution. Alright? So I'm going to use substitution because if I square this term, I have this one. So I'm going to let my u be this second term here. So my u will be x squared. This implies my u squared will be x to the fourth. Now I'm going to replace all my x with the u. So x to the fourth, it will be my u squared. Minus 5, x squared will be my u, minus 36. Now it's quadratic. So you can factor, you can use quadratic equation, you can use complete square, but I'm going to do factor. So I'm going to have u, 36 here, and 5 here. I'm going to do 9 times 4 because it's minus, so one have to be plus, one have to be minus. So the bigger number should be minus. So I have minus 9 plus 4 equal to 0. Negative 9 and plus 4 is negative 36. Minus 9 plus 4 is minus 5. U and u is u squared. Now u minus 9 equal to 0, or u plus 4 equal to 0. Then u would equal to 9. But we're not solving for u, we're solving for x, but my u is x squared. So x squared would be 9. Take root both sides. So x gonna be plus or minus square root of 9. X gonna be plus or minus 3. Try to check your answer. If you substitute this in here, should equal to 0, which I did, but I don't have room to show here. It's equal to 0. So x can be plus or minus 3. Let's look at this one. X squared, it should equal to negative 4. I substitute u for x squared. Now you cannot square a real number and get negative number. So this doesn't work. Right? So x is plus or minus 3. Now let's look at application. A right triangle. So when you see application, you want to read it more than one time, maybe 2 or 3 times if you need to, and every word is a given condition. So first of all, we have a right triangle. This is the right triangle. This is the hypotenuse, this is the 2 legs. So the hypotenuse is the longest side. Now they say that whose lengths are 3 consecutive. Consecutive mean one after another. Even is 2, 4, 6, and so on. Integer is a whole number. Find the length of the side. So I'm gonna let the first one be x. It cannot be the hypotenuse because the hypotenuse is the longest side. So let the first one be x, the leg, one of the leg. It doesn't matter. So the next one will be x plus 2 because consecutive even number. So the longest one will be x plus 4. Next step I'm gonna use Pythagorean theorem because it said that square of the 2 legs is equal to the square of the hypotenuse. So I'm gonna have x squared plus x plus 2 quantity square equal to x plus 4 quantity squared. Alright, I use Pythagorean theorem. I'm gonna expand this, so I have x squared plus x squared plus 4x plus 4. On the right hand side, I have x squared plus 8x plus 16. It's quadratic. I'm gonna set it equal to 0. So let's see. This 2 is gonna be 2x squared plus 4x plus 4 equal to x squared plus 8x plus 16. Set it equal to 0. So I'm going to have 2x squared minus x squared plus 4x minus 8x plus 4 minus 16 equal to 0. Combine like term. This 2 I end up with x squared. This 2 I end up with negative 4x. And this 2 I end up with negative 12 equal to 0. I have quadratic. You can factor quadratic equation, complete square, whatever method you prefer. I like to do factor because I think it's easier this way. 12, I'm gonna do and have minus, so 6 and 2 would work. 6 times 2 is 12. Minus is mean one gonna be plus, one gonna be minus. Minus 4 is mean the big one will be minus, the small one will be plus. 6 and 2 is 12, minus 6 plus 2 is minus 4. That work. Oh, wait a second, not equal to 6, equal to 0. So I have x equal to 6 or x equal to 2 because, wait, negative 2. Because we're talking about the side of the triangle, it cannot be negative side. We cannot have distance negative 2. So this one doesn't work. So it has to be 6. So if this is 6, this has to be 8, and this has to be 10. So x plus 2 is 8, x plus 4 is 10. So the three sides we're talking about is 6, 8, and 10. Let's see more example. Hi, let's look at our last example for this video. I have this problem I need to solve for x is under radical. So first thing you want to do, you want to take it out from radical. Since it's under radical root, I'm going to square both sides. Left hand side, because it's just one term, I'm going to have 2x. And on the right hand side, I'm going to have square root of x plus 1 times square root of x plus 1 plus 1, because it's two terms. Make sure you do this. So you have to do the distributive here. The left hand side is just going to be 2x. If you multiply this to that, you're going to have x plus 1. If you multiply this to this, you're going to have plus square root of x plus 1. You multiply this to this, you're going to have plus square root of x plus 1. This to this, you're going to have 1. So next step you're going to do, you're going to combine like term. So the left hand side is just going to be 2x. The right hand side, I'm going to have x. 1 plus 1 is 2. And these two terms are the same. So it's going to be plus 2 square root of x plus 1. Next step, I'm gonna get rid of radical again, but I'm gonna subtract x and subtract 2. So I'm gonna have 2x minus 2 is equal to 2 square root of x plus 1. So left hand side, I'm gonna have x minus 2 equal to 2 square root of x plus 1. Then I need to square both sides again, so I will take it out from radical. So I'm going to square both sides. So the left hand side, I'm going to have x squared minus 4x plus 4. On the right hand side, I'm going to have 4 times x plus 1. I square both sides. Next step, I'm going to distribute the 4 to the right hand side. So I have x squared minus 4x plus 4 equal 4x plus 4. Now it's quadratic, so I'm going to set it equal to 0. So I'm going to have x squared minus 4x plus 4 minus 4x minus 4 equal to 0. Combine like term on the left hand side, I'm going to have x squared minus 8x equal to 0, because these two terms is become 8x plus 4 minus 4 is 0. I'm going to factor out the x, so I have x minus 8 equal to 0. Two terms multiply each other, get 0. One of them have to be 0, or both of them will be 0. So either x equal to 0 or x minus 8 equal to 0. So x equal to 8. Now I have two answers here. we have to substitute it back to the original equation to make sure that it's satisfied. So let's check. My first x is 0. Substitute in the original equation. I'm going to have 2 times 0 is equal to square root 0 plus 1 plus 1. This left hand side is just 0. The right hand side square root of 1 is 1 plus 1 is 2. So not equal to each other. So no, it doesn't work. So this one doesn't work. Right? Cross it out. So let's say we're going to check x equal to 8 in the original equation. So I'm going to have square root of 2 times 8 equal to square root of 8 plus 1 plus 1. 2 times 8 is 16. Square root of 16 is 4. 8 plus 1 is 9. Square root of 9 is 3. 3 plus 1 is 4. So it works. So the answer is x equal to 8. That's the only answer that is correct. Now, I didn't get to finish chapter 1. We still have complex number, inequality, and absolute value. I will do that in the next video. Bye.